So, little senseless noodling there, but what I like about the guitar is that it inspires a different type of playing. I unplugged it. Sometimes a good thing to do is to unplug the guitar from an amp and play one that you really like, and then play one that you're wondering about. And without it plugged in, how does it feel? So get the sound away, because the sound can be modified, the sound can change. And the feel can be changed too, but it's a lot harder to change the overall feel of a guitar compared to the tone, the sound of it. And I played it last night for quite a while compared to some others, and it actually does play really well. So I think I'm going to keep it. Plus, $400 price tag after a couple of back and forths on the bids. But there's a 15% restocking fee. It would cost me $70 just to ship it back to Texas, plus the 15%. That's another $60. So I'm looking at $130 a loss on this, which is a hard pill to swallow. Now, if I hated it, that's fine. I take my medicine. I learn some lessons from reverb. One thing on reverb, you can't always trust the color. And number two, you can't always count on the condition. And number three, just because you liked a particular guitar from a manufacturer doesn't mean you're going to like another one. But for the most part, Reverb's treated me real well. Better than Sweetwater even at times. So that's good. Now back to this guitar. It is pretty American alder body, hard maple neck as opposed to soft maple, I guess. Not crazy about the tuners, but they have proven to be really stable. It stays in tune really well. I can bend on it, yank on it. I love the bridge. This type of, what is it called? A sure shot bridge. Love these saddles, super smooth. The craftsmanship is really nice. I haven't seen any issues with that. So what I'm going to plan to do is swap out the pickups from that TC59. Also, what I'm going to do is make sure that when I put the pickups back in, they're not loose like this. And I'm also thinking about adding some wood right here in this cavity so that this plastic cover has something more to attach to. I may even add a screw right here in the middle to help hold it down to some extra wood inside. Because while resonance is a good thing, vibration can kill a tone and can kill sustain. If you have vibration from a bad seating of the string at the nut, because the nut curve, the slot isn't bent down backwards, if your slot is cut this way, then the string can rattle on the front side of that slope, which is bad. You don't want that kind of vibration. If you have loose components, then that kind of vibration can grab your string vibration and step on it, grab it and destroy it. Loose things absorb and kill good vibration, good sustain, good resonance. What you do want is everything being tight and the wood of the guitar taking on that resonance and sending it back with the same frequency. It's kind of hard to explain, but I think you understand the point. Soft things, loose things absorb and kill vibration, destroy it. Whereas you do want a guitar to resonate nicely. Now, this is a chambered guitar, and so it resonates real well, but you have to cancel out, you have to find all the other useless vibrations and get rid of them. So I'm going to do that by adding some wood under here, tightening up the pickups. Also, on these saddles with the two set screws, you have to make sure both set screws are tight. One thing that people don't understand is that if one of these set screws is loose, because sometimes they just don't always find the proper mating to cancel any kind of vibration. This saddle might sit up nice and flat, but if one of the screws is off a little bit and not pressing down with equal tension as the other screw, that screw then can cause a sustain or resonance killing vibration, which isn't good. So these screws, even after you get it all set up, you need to go back through and make sure that you have an equal tension on both sides of that string, that you don't have a loose screw that's vibrating. So I'll check it all out. You know, one of the appeal of a Les Paul type guitar is that it's also a chambered guitar. It's not a hollow body, and it's not a semi-hollow body, and yet there's a large amount of routing on the inside of a Les Paul in the mahogany body, and then they cover that up with a maple cap, so that, you know, technically it's a chambered guitar, and that's part of the appeal. That's part of the sustain. That's part of that good feel of a Gibson Les Paul or a Les Paul style guitar. When you play one, you feel the guitar. It resonates with you. It has great feedback and sustain. When you crank up an amp, you get a lot of that natural feedback, just like you do with hollow bodies. You want to take it to an extreme, plug an acoustic into an amp, and you get crazy feedback. An ES335, I think it is, Gibson hollow body style with the 2 F-holes. Feedback problems again if you crank it up with too much gain. So there's payoffs and exchanges from hollow bodies all the way up to solid bodies, whereas some guitars like my Jackson are so solid that it you know, it's pretty much a stick, but it's a rock machine. I mean, who cares? All right, so that's the plan. I'm gonna stick with this because I like it enough, and that I think we can fix these things. I need to tighten up the guitar. You need to tighten it up so that just the body resonates, and we don't end up with the this plastic plate vibrating, the pickups being loose, etc., etc., etc. Pretty pricey return. And again, lesson learned. You know, be dang sure of something before you buy on Reverb, because it'll cost you to send it back. And I think I could sell it at you know, if I take a $130 hit, that's $270. I could sell this for $270 and get my money back as opposed to shipping it. So that seems worthwhile. I could sell this easily because it retails for $500, $499, and be able to get a pretty good deal. All right, so I'm going to start the process. We'll get the cover off, show you what's inside. All right, one thing I noticed is from here to here is a long way to go without any kind of screw holding this down. So I'll probably add a screw there. Other than that, dang it, that thing, I need some hot glue on that. Also 250K pots inside, which tends to muddy things up a little bit instead of 500K pots. So here's the cavity. Like I thought, big hollow spot here. This is your cavity. That's another cavity. The rest of this is solid, but these are the same PAF styled pickups that is in the vintage that you find in the vintage 100 series. Not the lemon drop, but the V100 tobacco. Which is really pretty. Tobacco with gold hardware. Super pretty guitar. And it sounds great. M series, Wilkinson pickups. And in that style of a guitar where it's still chambered, but it's tighter. It's not, doesn't have this openness to it, and the wood's a little heavier. In that style, with the mahogany and the maple top instead of alder, they sound good. They sound great. And I would like to, you know, have some of that same kind of resonance. Anyway, so this is the top plate, cover plate, switch, 250K pots. I'll leave everything as is. I think I'm going to add a block of wood here, the same height as this, to get an additional screw in there. I may add, these do have springs here, but they're just, you know, really loose, which is stupid. I may foam back these with some high density foam, which would be a nice touch so that they are connected to the guitar a little better. A lot of guitars now have direct mounted pickups, and that tends to add to the resonance. Even those direct mounted pickups though are backed with high density foam. Like in my Wolfgang, they are called direct mount, but they're still foam behind the pickup so that you can raise and lower the height of the pickup, but they do secure straight to the guitar body without being part of a frame that then attaches to the body. All right, so that's what the inside looks like. It's nicely cut out, nice routing lines. I've seen much worse. There's not a lot of garbage in here. It's very nice. You can see also that it's got a nice 1/4-inch cap to it all the way around. If you probably won't see it, but if you look right in here, you can see the demarcation of the body and the cap where it's been glued down. You can see that all the way around. Nice 1/4-inch cap all the way around. So we'll polish this up real good. Make those changes. I'm going to take the other pickups out of the other guitar, and then I'll just put the 2 plates side by side and move everything over. All right, so 3 hours later or so, we're done. These are nice and tight now. The new pickups in here are nice and tight. I did put some foam beneath them. I did add a screw right here. And if you notice in the first video, there's another screw right there. In the first video, there's an area in the body here that's extra big. Almost looks like it was made for a screw, and maybe production forgot it, because that's a pretty good that's a long span without anything holding that down. Anyway, beefier springs and some foam. I may take the foam out. It really did tighten everything up. It no longer feels like a toy, and it does sound a lot more like a Telecaster. Funny thing that happened though, seems like I lost some overall volume. I don't remember the artist pickups being quieter, but I don't know, they could be. But it almost seems like I've got an electronics issue. Anyway, I left everything the same. And it plays great. I did go ahead and sand off the edge of the neck right here. Oiled the fretboard since I had it off. And then splitting. Thins it out just like you'd expect. I need to make sure I don't noodle. Anyway, middle position. Neck. All the way to the bridge. And then if we split it, bridge. Middle.
I like it because a lot of the bass flubbiness is gone now. This is neck. So I can beat on it more like an acoustic. Which you can't do that with a lot of guitars with higher powered pickups because it just all runs together. You don't get any of that articulation between the notes, perhaps, is what I'm trying to say. Doesn't sound as good to me that way. Split it up. Great riff. So overall, really happy with it. It's mine now. I drilled a flipping hole in it. I like the artist pickups. They work great. Splittable. I will double check the electronics at some point when I do strings again or something. And now the cool thing is that this guitar ended up taking these pickups without any problem. They were kind of flarpy and bass heavy, but maybe because of all the wood, the density of this guitar and the hardwoods. That's the neck position. Middle. And then did I say neck at the middle? Anyway, that was bridge. This is neck. And it sounds really good. You can't split these pickups, but it didn't hurt it at all. It still sounds really good. So you just never know. You know, this artist TC59 from Artist Guitars is a solid buy. It sounds great, plays great. It's got snap. That's not really my style of music, but it's got plenty of that on tap, and it stays in tune well. It plays great, and it looks pretty cool, except for that stupid orange neck. But I've got plans for that, and I don't mind selling that now to someone for even $200. I could say it's got a pickup upgrade with those Wilkinson M series. Those are the same pickups they run in their V100s. Wilkinson has a good reputation for pickups. They sound great. But I was a little worried about what it was going to do to that guitar, but it still sounds solid. So overall, project took me about 3 hours, and I am pretty happy with it. This is lower power for some reason, less output, but it's a beautiful playing guitar. It has nice resonance. It no longer feels like a toy. So now I'll put the time into really adjusting the bridge, the intonation, and polish it up real good. And next time I'm changing strings, I reuse strings until they're bad. There's no point putting new strings on every time you do something. It's easy enough to pull them off the tuning pegs and just put them to the side, wrap them up, and then reuse them until they're no longer usable. Because it is a nicely crafted guitar, and now it's so light, which is nice. I should weigh it and tell you. I'll weigh it and put it in the description, just so you have an idea of the difference in the two. And it is a pretty guitar, but it really did tighten up a lot. I mean, it was vibrating and loose. Putting that foam in there under the pickups, I may take that out just so I get a little more resonance. but it's much better. All right. So if you want to get one of those and put some work into it, that's great. If you don't want to put some work into it, I'd look elsewhere. Because as it is with those pickups and the way it's set up, it's not fun. All right, I've talked enough. I usually talk too much. And earlier I said expressionable or something. How about expressive? The pickups weren't very expressive. Duh. And I'm the guy they're paying to teach your kids. Although I'm not an English teacher, I'm a PE teacher. So, you want some help with tennis or golf or football or frisbee? I'm your guy. But grammar, still okay with it. But I tend to slip up. Have a great afternoon, morning, evening, wherever you are. We'll talk to you next